Hello, Jennifer and Vanessa. How are you ladies doing today?
Good, thanks. How are
Okay.
you?
I'm great. I'm great. Oh, thank you for this. Could it be more adorable? Oh my God, I just loved it from beginning to end. But Jennifer, we have to start with you because we wouldn't have had this movie without your wonderful book. And I wanted to know when you started to write this, like, is this from an experience or tell me a little bit about the backstory here?
This is not a romantic story, but it is from a sort of an experience. Years and years ago, I was on a flight from Chicago to Dublin, and I was seated next to kind of an older gentleman who was reading a book I had just finished. And we
Wow.
started chatting, and he was just really interesting. We ended up talking through much of the flight, and
Yeah.
he was Irish. And so the next morning we got separated in different lines to customs, much as happens in the film. And
Yeah.
um, I think we didn't say goodbye. I think I kind of thought we'd see each other again on the other side. It didn't happen, and I felt sort of sad afterwards that I'd spent such a big chunk of time connecting with another person and that I would never see them again. And that
Yeah.
was, the spark of the film. I'm always very interested in these moments in time that act as hinges, a day where, one day your life is one way and then something happens and the next day your life is different. And what better representation is there of that than meeting somebody on an airplane?
No kidding. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time on airplanes, and as I'm watching this movie, going, "Damn, this never happened to me. That's not fair." But anyway, but Vanessa,
but
I wanted to
there's
ask.
always a chance.
There's always listen. Never say never. Never say never. Right? We're all back on planes and stuff now, so
Yes.
it could happen. But yeah, Vanessa, for you, what initially I guess touched your heart about the book, and then maybe when the script was being developed, it had to have really kind of caught touched you.
It did, it really did. I read the script before I read the book. I got sent it during the middle of the pandemic, and I just found it really uplifting. It felt like good medicine, and it made me feel good. And I thought if it makes me feel good, other people will
Yeah.
feel good too. Um,
Yeah.
but it felt like something that on the actually gets to such a true and beautiful heart. And I think I found that incredibly moving. And it sort of speaks to love in a way that's different to just that kind of initial spark. It speaks to it taking work and it being painful at times and it
Yeah.
being something that's worth sticking with and something that can end and does end in different ways. And I loved all of that, and I loved the familial relationships in it and what those
Yes.
two protagonists were both carrying, what they didn't
Yeah.
want to reveal about themselves because they felt exposed, and what they actually had to get to reveal about themselves in order to connect properly and deeply with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, Jennifer, because even from the get-go, when Haley and Ben meet in the airport, you're just already rooting for them. You don't know really much about them. You don't know about their backstory. Like he could be a serial killer. We don't know, like whatever. You know what I mean? But we're rooting for them, like right off the bat. So, Jennifer, I got to ask you. I mean, do you believe in love at first sight? Do you believe in fate? Like, is this something that we should be believing in and clinging to?
I think I believe in fate more than I believe in love at first sight. I really believe in instant connection, and I think especially in today's world, we're often, we're putting on our earphones, we're putting a mask on, we're burying our nose in a book, we're
Yeah.
not looking up from our phones. There's something to be said for looking up, and but I'm a big believer in fate and timing and chance and serendipity, but I think I'm an even bigger believer in taking two kind of decent people and if they're sitting next to each other and they take a moment to be open enough to connect, then you never know what might happen.
Yeah. Vanessa, the casting, as you were saying, like the families, and then of course the two leads, everybody is so wonderful. Everybody in this film, just even Jamila as the narrator, like, everybody really suits their roles. But I have to say, I mean, I've always been team Haley Lu, like from the day one I ever saw her and met her to interview her many, many years ago when she was much younger. And I just thought there's something about this girl, like how you cannot resist her. And now, of course, everyone's seen her in the White Lotus, and now this, of course, and she clearly connected with it because she's also a producer. What was it like to work with somebody like her, who's so effervescent, so like gung-ho team, I want to be the best. She's so great.
She is all of those things. She is so brilliant and just a complete one of a kind. She's really off the wall and funny and quirky, and she's an incredibly talented actor who is incredibly specific in everything she does. So it was a delight. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, and then the chemistry, of course, between her and then was it instant? Like, you sometimes you get on set with somebody and you're like, I don't know.
It was instant. It was completely there from the moment they met on Zoom. Right. And they started talking. It was, this is it. This is Hadley and Oliver. There's no question.
Yeah, they were so lovely together. Like I said, we were just rooting for them from the beginning. Jennifer, what's it like to see this come to life and to be there on set or just to watch this all being made, for you? What a thrill, I'm sure.
It's a huge story. It's a dream come true. This book first came out in 2012, and the movie has been in development since 2010. So this has been a very long road. And, I think over the years, there were times I felt impatient to see it. And I realize now that it was worth every minute of that wait, because otherwise it wouldn't have happened with this team and with these actors. And this is just the version that I always dreamed about. And I wasn't able to go to set because it was a lockdown in London. They were shooting during COVID, but I later got to go to reshoots and see Haley and Jamila and the whole production. And there's something so cool about, as a writer, you are sitting alone in a room with your imaginary friends for a long period of time. And then to many years later, over a decade later, to go to a set where there's hundreds of people working to make this happen and to bring it to life. It's just completely surreal. And I love everything about this film, and I just feel incredibly fortunate.
Yeah, it's just such a feel good and something we absolutely need right now. And just to wrap it up, Vanessa, I want to give props to the costume designer. I have to say that bridesmaid's dress that she wore, I know that she kind of poo-poos it in the film and says it's a color of a bruise. I think it's the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. And she just wore it so well. Am I wrong? What's going on here?
No, you're right. I think it is gorgeous. And Kirsty Halliday, the costume designer, who is brilliant, she made that dress. She made and designed that dress, and she also made and designed the Jamila's air steward outfit as well, and all of the very talented.
The dress feels iconic. It's a really beautiful, and she's in it for so much of the film that it had to be great. And it
works. She pulls it off with the running shoes, everything. Just brilliant. I loved it. Thank you, ladies, so much for this. I really enjoyed this film. Really touched my heart. And best of luck to you both with it. And nice to have the opportunity to chat with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.